talking about her being lonely and dating both are sucks either way. But when your date sells your meat and flesh fresh out of your body alive, then dating is disgusting and being lonely is not that suck. Open up on a phone screen getting swapped. She's trying out some kind of dating app for a match. Next, she's on a date with a guy named Chad. It's terrible, the date I mean. Horrible the guy. He doesn't pay for the food and he snacks the leftover as well. At the end Noah says she can't do this and he's not the type. He gets offended and roasts Noah. Then we see her at the boxing gym with her friend Mollie. She's upset about her date gone bad and didn't have a comeback for that guy and says how come she always ends up alone. Her friend says she doesn't need a man, she will be okay by herself. Next day she tries again a bit more and apparently it's not going to work for her. She goes out for some groceries and meets this guy named Steve. He approaches her and after a little conversation and jokes, she gives him her number. Her friend Mollie is not happy, the fact that Noah didn't tell her about Steve, but Steve didn't text her yet, so it's not that late. Mollie jokes about Steve, maybe he's married. After they two separate, finally Noah gets a text from Steve. He invites her on a date at a bar. They talk about their jobs and places they have borne. Steve is a doctor, plastic surgery kind of stuff. Noah has no siblings and after her father died, she doesn't know about her mother's whereabouts either. She is alone. After a lot of talking and drinking, Steve asks her to tell him something that she doesn't want him to know. She says she hates this dating and talking and trying to give the perfect projection or searching happiness in another person. She hates everything about it. She thinks those who believe in true love are idiots, but screw it and aims straight at Steve and kisses him. They go at her place the night and play. In the morning she talks with her friend Mollie about Steve and the night she spent with him. And Mollie wants his Instagram to check him, but Steve doesn't have one. Mollie believes that's a big red flag. Another time we see them at dinner table where Noah is enjoying the steak, but Steve says he's a vegan and ruins the enjoyment for her. Also he has no problem with her eating steak, but she stops anyway. Steve asks Noah if she has told anyone about him. She says maybe just a friend. After some dancing and playing, Steve suggests for a vacation or something. Noah is like, hell yeah, why not? But she doesn't know about the place they go. It's a surprise. Her friend doesn't like it. Surprise, and the guy. But Noah is determined to go. Steve says they will stay at his place for the night and leave at morning because of traffic. On the way, Steve can't hold it to the surprise and says they are going to Cottage Grove. She texts her friend about the place. They get to his place where they were supposed to stay the night and leave at morning for the Cottage Grove. Noah is checking around and Steve making drinks. And it's not bad actually, as she says. As she is trying to guess the flavor in that drink, she seems dizzy. Steve asks her to come close to him. She tries and drops on the floor. Then the story just starts. She wakes up in a room and asks Steve what happened. As he is sitting in the corner, says he drugged her. Noah thinks that's a joke and can't believe what is happening. Steve gets close to comfort her, but she panics and doesn't let him to get close. He is trying to explain what is happening after shouting on Noah to make her listen. He explains about his business and how much sick people pay for her meat. He says he likes her and wants to keep her alive as long as possible. The meat has to be fresh, so he's not going to finish her right away. Her friend is worried and Steve sends a picture of the place they were supposedly going to be using Noah's phone. We see Noah is screaming for help and somebody, a girl actually, from another room near replies he is not there. She can't help Noah, they are in the same boat. Her name is Penny and she doesn't know how long she has been there. She has lost the track. And another girl also there somewhere around in the room who has lost her mind. We see Mollie texting Noah. On the other side, Steve replies they have a good time and something about it doesn't make sense to Mollie. She gets curious and checks the photo she has got from Noah about the place they were supposed to go, and it turns out wrong place. Then we see Steve doing his job and packing up the orders for his customers. He brings Noah some food and she wants to take shower, but Steve is not sure about it. Then he says only if she gives him a smile. As he's leading her to the bathroom, she tries to escape and fails. Then we see her on the surgical table. Steve is taking her back, bottom, her butt, her ass, because she is being a bad girl. Mollie shows up at the bar where Noah and Steve were there on a date, which Noah has mentioned to the bartender Paul. Apparently Mollie and Paul are exes. She asks about the guy who has come in his bar with Noah, Steve. But Paul says he is not allowed to give up his customer's identity or any information. But after Mollie's resistance, he is about to see what he can do. Back at Noah playing with her foot, and Penny from the other room asks about her back. Noah is like, it is still gone. She's blaming herself for sleeping with Steve. Penny envies Noah. She didn't get to sleep with him. Mollie is checking the information she got from Paul about Steve. It turns out he was married, as she joked about it before, with Noah, and has 2 kids, and she finds his house as well. Steve brings Noah a drink with extra cherry and asks about her pain and meds she's taking. He seems tired because the orders are too much. He has to provide for his customers. Noah is wondering why he slept with her, now that she knows he didn't sleep with his other victims. Steve believes it was a mistake and he liked her as well, as he mentioned before. Maybe that's why. As he leaves, Noah notices a note on the magazine she is reading. It says, "If you are reading this, it means he likes you, and use it." The name is Sami Akbari. Then she tries to motivate Penny behind the wall to stay strong. Back to Mollie, where she is about to get in the house she found from Steve, before texting the location to Paul in case something may go wrong. Steve visits Noah. She acts cool and strong, then asks Steve about the taste of human, the meat he is selling. He says first it depends on where it comes from and how it's prepared. He says it's really good and exquisite. Back at Mollie, Anne, Steve's wife, acts like she doesn't understand what Mollie is talking about. Then Steve shows up. He is acting like he doesn't know what Mollie wants as well. He says even his name is not Steve. Then as Mollie is leaving, she calls Noah, thinking maybe he has her phone, and she is right. But Anne, his wife, smacks her from behind around the head and reveals that she's in the whole operation as well. Noah doing some push-up. Steve comes in and asks her curiosity about the human taste and wants to know if she can try it at dinner table. We see Anne, his wife, apparently is suffering from some kind of trauma or the business she is in. Also, she is missing a leg. Maybe she is Sam, the one who has left the note on the magazine for the next victim. Then we see a tour of frozen storage with parts and name tags on each of them. Dinner time comes. Steve is preparing meals and talks with Noah about the time when he was 18 he tasted human for the first time. Then he has become addicted to the whole thing and has found the whole community. Noah is acting cool and tries to process what she is hearing and what she witnesses, and asks if there is only women for consumption by the community. He says yes, only women, because of marketing. Plus, they think women taste better. She tries what Steve has prepared and it's not what she expected. It's indescribable, she says. Afterward, he brings her back in her room and says he knew she is special because she is a screw-up like himself. Something is getting into him, some feelings like. As he leaves Noah alone, she throws up the dinner in the toilet seat. We see Mollie on the table getting work done, and the guy who is missing her. Noah wondering if she could see Penny. Then we see her behind the wall. She is missing a leg. He sells them partially and keeps them alive. Talking of sickness, huh? Another time passed by. Steve brought Noah a dress with something for freshening up and invites her for dinner. They are ready for dinner. She is wondering if that is a date. Steve says yes if she wants it. They start with drinks and food is from a girl named Melissa and jokes about it. She is trying to keep it cool as possible. Steve gives her a tour of his collection. We see Penny as well, and she notices Sam, the person who has left that note. She has ended up dead at last. Maybe she couldn't use the favor she got from Steve. Really sad. Then she notices Mollie's mobile phone among others' phones. She asks about her own stuff and picture. He says they are with him right now, right here standing. They come back to the table. Noah is laughing at everything. Then she starts to cry. She's losing it. She can't process the situation. It's really confusing. Steve comforts her and kisses her. Then music starts to play. Noah asks him to dance. He agrees. At first he is watching and doesn't mix in. Then they both start to get intimate. She goes to the bathroom and gets back on the bed. She goes down and bites his genitalia and rubs toothpaste on his face. Then picks up the key and runs out. She ties the door with the chain she had on her hands. Steve is screaming and threatening Noah at the same time. She goes down and frees her friend and Penny as well. Steve gets out of the room. The girls who are hiding in the kitchen, he finds them. They fight him. Grab a knife or something next time, please. You are in the kitchen, for God's sake. Finally. Thank you. But still he is about to get on top of them. Finally a kick from Mollie ends it for the moment. Now they are out and carrying Penny. Steve is angry, saying Noah has lied to him and is shooting the air. Then he starts to apologize and crying. Paul finally is there, but he doesn't know what he's doing and runs back after hearing the gunshot. He's like, nah, I can't save those bitches. We see his wife shows up at the house, which is a mess, and asks her assistant or bodyguard to get a flashback and heads outside in the jungle searching for her husband. Steve gets to the girls and round 2 starts to play. This time they get him good. At the end, Noah asks for their smile, then she shoots him in the eye as he gives it. As they find out that they are in the middle of nowhere and wondering how to get home, Anne finds her husband dead. She shows no feelings and tells the man to put his body on ice. Then she finds Noah as she is searching for her cell phone. At first she thanks Noah for killing Steve, then starts choking her to death. Almost. Mollie gets her and smashes her face by saying women like her are the problem. They are exhausted and collapse on the ground, saying how much they love each other. At the end we see a text from her crap date, saying, "You up?" Moral of the story, men are crap, confirmed.